you know, credit to the Ponds, they turned up.
I think our response against Quakers said more about where we're at and the team we are. If other teams in the comp want to use that as a yardstick for where we're at, then let them. I'd be lying if I said we didn't think we could finish in that top spot, and that's the truth.
Look, if that's how they feel, that's how they feel. In terms of digging into the earlier part of your question, I think I should just leave it there and move on.
Myself and Kev will do our little homework and then come up with a game plan to stop him. I don't care if it's my family member or anyone, everyone's my enemy within the field. After the game, we'll hug, give each other a kiss, whatever.
Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome back to the Blacktown Premier League podcast. Somehow, we're already up to episode 7. Would you believe it? I don't. Thanks always to our major sponsors of the Men's Premier League, Lang and Simmons Blacktown. It's a pleasure to have you here. And why is this weekend so important? Because 2 of the best teams in the Premier League are facing each other on Saturday night. And why is it even more significant that I just said? Because one of those 2 teams only played 3 weeks ago and they got pummeled, as you know. Why is it even more significant than those 2 points that I've just made? Because the other team is the team that's won the Premiership 3 times running. Those are the calibre and the stature and the history of the 2 teams that are coming up this weekend. That is significant. This is the best stadium to watch Premier League football from. And I've spoken enough. Cue the intro music.
Here come Workers on!
But it's fallen here towards Icon!
Oh my word.
To find her teammate in 𝐖𝐈𝐍! And now played and struck and in! People, Ryan Dominici! Further forward now, Tanyura!
We're all ready to play and yeah, we'll go out and smoke it this time.
I want to start off the bat by saying once again, thank you so much for continuing to smash the views. In terms of our WPL-centric podcast last week, we did really well with that considering that the player base is still growing. Really proud of what we achieved with that. Thank you for the incredible amount of likes that we got on that. And if you haven't already watched it, go back, then watch the match of the round because it was a 5-goal thriller. And I promise you, you won't regret it. As well, while we're on the topic of Women's Premier League, we couldn't nail down Parkley to an interview this week because their coach and one of their star players got engaged this week away on holiday during the long weekend of last week. So props to you guys, Tom Palacios, Alexandra Reeves. Congratulations. Enjoy your time off. Let's go straight into some results right now and enjoy the highlights package as well. So we were just chatting about the Women's Premier League, so there's no better place to start than with the match of the round where Marayong beat Quakers Hill Juniors to gain them their first defeat in over 18 months in what is an absolutely fantastic and monumental achievement in the history of that club's women's space. Well done, and enjoy the highlights as they're playing out now. Kellyville Colts will also join Marayong on equal top of the table, but obviously separated all of them by goal difference, 6-0 over their Kellyville-based rivals, Kellyville United. Norwest did 3-1 over Ponds. Holroyd Rangers also equal top of the table, a 3-1 win over Rouse Hill Rams. A big result, Quakers Hill Tigers went down 2-1 to Castle Hill United. Massive result as Castle Hill looked to fling themselves back into finals football like they were in the inaugural year. And in another Blacktown, a second of 2 Blacktown derbies on that Tuesday night catch-up round, Parkley beat Ropes Crossing as it looks like finally Parkley are finding their feet. Men's Premier League 2 results, well, there's none. Moving on then. And Men's Premier League 1 results. That's it. Thanks very much. Right, as you can see, we are at Ladybird, right where the Snakes are living, by the way, because this is a very busy ground here tonight. But we are going to start with Blacktown Workers once again. Firstly, yes, Brandon Ford will be back on the mic and you'll be able to hear his wonderful footballing opinions again. He did a smashing job last time, so leave a like on this video if you're excited to have him back on. Also, they are considered the home team again. Now, you know what happened a couple of weeks ago, and you know that I wouldn't let them get away with some easy questions. I'm always hard on these teams that are at the top. So, are you excited to see how they responded to going down 7-2? Me too. Enjoy the show. For all their quality that we know that they have and for all the talk that went with it as well, the result of the last match of the round for these Workers boys wasn't exactly what they hoped for, but there's a chance just less than a month after that result to rectify it. So let's hear what they say on the podcast this week. I'm going to go straight to 𝐸𝐈𝐍 𝐸𝐸, by the way, former Golden Boot winner, now a 3-goal striker already at this Workers outfit. I just want to throw back to that game. Let's get through the hard stuff first, okay? There was a chance at 1-1. You go through down this end on your left foot, and it gets saved. A couple of minutes later, they take the lead. They put a second goal on top of that, and the game runs away from there after you go into the sheds. Picture yourself scoring that one at 2-1. Do you think that could have changed the momentum of the game for the better?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, goals change games, really. So, yeah, obviously if that goes in, yeah, 100% it's a different game.
Do you think, and I may mention this on the mic, do you think that actually going into the Sheds with that 2-goal deficit when it had been 1-1 just 10 minutes, 7 minutes prior, do you think the game was lost in that moment there? Did it feel like it was out of reach?
I think not in that moment. I think, yeah, it's no secret. I think we conceded goals at poor times in that game, which obviously didn't help. But going into half, yeah, conceding right before wasn't ideal. But I think for us, it was the one after half-time that killed us. Because, yeah, it was a mistake at the back. And, you know, we came out from half-time. We spoke in the Sheds about, you know, just really trying to put in and get back into it because we were well in it in that first half. And then, yeah, just that mistake, and they obviously punished us there. And I think that was the dagger. Obviously, it's no excuse, obviously, conceding as many as we did. Letting it get to that point, obviously, still no excuse. But I think that, looking back, was the killer.
Ben, I want to go to you for the goalkeeper's perspective on this. It was something that was mentioned by both myself and Brendan Ford on the mic. Ponds were ruthless up top a couple of weeks ago. And I do wonder if perhaps on another day they might not have put as many as they did past you. A reminder, it was 7 goals to 2. Do you think, just in case you guys forgot, do you actually think that potentially on another day they might not have scored that many? Or was this one of their everything just went perfect kind of days?
Looking back at it, I mean, they took their chances, so I commend Ponds for that. Like, you got to commend for them doing the job on the day. Like, if our boys were on our game, it could have been a different story. But it happens. It's football. We don't dwell on it anymore. We've moved on now. We went on to the next game against Quakers, so we did our job, and we just put that scoreline away now, so we don't focus about it anymore.
Taylor, I'll come to you for the Quakers game in just a moment. Ибby, I want to go to you first. I know most of what you say and have always said is tongue-in-cheek, but there was a lot of smack spoken prior to the game. I just want to ask, in your honest opinion, though, in all seriousness, do you think that Ponds are a 7 goals to 2 better team than you?
Definitely not. It was a game where, like you said, they were clinical in terms of them scoring their chances, but we did not play up to our level. And on a different day, if we did bring the level that we expect as a team, I don't think it would have been a 7-2 scoreline. It definitely would have been a closer game. But, you know, credit to the Ponds. They turned up. They you know, played what was in front of them. They scored their goals. But there's definitely no doubt in my mind that it was one hiccup in our season that we want to, you know, rectify. And we took that first step against Quakers, so we want to maintain that moving forward against Marayong.
What do you actually think, just quickly, what do you think it went wrong on the day?
There's a few things from my perspective, and you know, we've spoken about it as a team, as you know, coaching staff has spoken about it, as a collective we have. I won't go into the details about, you know, what went wrong because, you know, we don't want to expose our style and what we've fixed and what we haven't fixed. But at the end of the day, there were a few things that we have noticed and we've rectified those mistakes. And hopefully we can, you know, on the next occasion we verse them, keep it to a closer scoreline and hopefully beat them.
Okay, certainly. And we'll see how that changes come Saturday night, weather prevailing, of course. Taylor, you were watching from afar. I know that you went and watched that game back a couple of hours after. I won't ask you any more about the game. I think we've talked about it enough. Let's actually just move on to the Quakers stuff straight away. You had to recover against a team who are tactically very smart. They are well coached and they've got some very good players in their ranks. And Quakers hasn't given anyone an easy game just yet. You also had to do it with, you know, the second half, most of it, down to 10 men. So you've achieved a lot of good things. You've ticked off a lot of boxes there in terms of things to prove throughout the season. So how important, how significant was that comeback victory versus Quakers Juniors and holding them out with even 10 men?
Yeah, I think we spoke about it as a playing group that the Quakers game was probably more important than the Ponds game. I mean, that happened, that was in the past. I think our response against Quakers said more about where we're at and the team we are. As you mentioned, went down to 10. Look, that was probably in the last 20. We could have shut up shop, played for the draw. It was 2-2 at that point. I think going out and getting the win from there, again, yeah, just shows what we're at and our mentality. Not to harp on the Ponds game. Look, what can you say? They put 7 on us. They did. If other teams in the comp want to use that as a yardstick for where we're at, then let them. We showed against Quakers. They were coming off a win against Ponds and then a draw against Creek, I think, who are 2 very respectable teams in their own right. So we know where we're at. We had a bad game. Should have got 7. Obviously not. We weren't happy with that. But we bounced back against Quakers, Rezzies as well. Unfortunately, for some reason, we're notoriously slow starters. It's not an excuse. It's not something we want to be known for. And it's something we are trying to get out of our game. But, at the end of the day, when the whip's cracking at the end of the season, if we're in that top 4, we're happy and we know we can give it a shake. So,
and up against Marayong this weekend, we know what you're capable of. The whole competition has seen it. You do have 3 goals to your name, as mentioned in the intro. But they will come from the spot so far. I want to know how long, how many more rounds, how many more weeks until we get to see what Workers and how long it will take for Workers to get the absolute best out of your style of play as a number 9.
Well, I'd argue that that's already happening as we speak. I've scored 3 goals, admittedly all from the spot, but outside of that, I'm still heavily involved, build up, still impacting goals as well. I've got 4 assists to my name so far as well. So, I feel like the boys and the club is definitely getting the best out of me already in such a short amount of time. So, I think it will only get better. Looking at the boys, the squad we have, and the club itself. So,
𝐸, Marayong is a massive game for you. I think of the grand final goal. I think of Kev's reaction in the background. Iconic moments in the recent history of the Blacktown Men's Premier League. I think obviously 3 points is always significant no matter what team you're playing up against, but I think for Marayong as a benchmark team, maybe some would say the benchmark team, if you can at least prove yourselves, maybe you won't get the result just yet, but if you can prove yourself that you can match them, that's a significant thing. So we know that you guys can get these great results, but are you confident of coming out of this one at home with a win?
Well, you just said that we want to try to match them. We're not trying to match them. We're trying to beat them. So it's, every game that we play, no matter who the opponent is, we're trying to win. And like you said, and rightfully so, we've had some big battles in the past, and they are a quality team, and they are the benchmark. They're undefeated at the moment. They're top of the league, and it's always a tough game against them, especially when they have the quality players that they do. But I'm confident, that we'll put the effort in to play our best, and that's what we want to do. We want to play our best. If we play our best, we give ourselves a good opportunity to win the game.
Benny, penultimate question for you, unless anything else pops up. Last time this fixture happened at this ground, it was when Marayong were able to secure the club championship. And I know that that's a painful thing to watch, although you guys did end up making it to that reserve grade grand final, of course, and knocking them out in the process. So two can play at that game if you like. But this is a big fixture. It has been probably for the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm really excited for it. However, I do have to ask, in terms of the way Marayong play, they haven't really put teams to the sword for the last couple of seasons. They're a team that like to take the lead and hold on to it, be conservative, look after their players. Do you think, considering how often and frequently you guys score, you've scored at least 2 goals in every single match, you've scored 4 in a match already, if you can tighten up that defence and as it keeps progressing, this is a really good chance for you to come up against a team who maybe aren't actually firing on all cylinders, and maybe you could really push into a title charge. Do you think that's the case or not?
Oh, look, Marayong have always, they've set the benchmark in this, in this comp for a couple of years now. So we always look at this game as going to be a tough one, but we're always up for a challenge. And we know that Marayong have got the quality of players. There's no question about it. But it's a game we look forward to playing against, to be honest, because it sort of gives us where we are in this competition, and we can put up a good fight against Marayong and other quality teams. But look, I'll always enjoy playing a game against Marayong. It's always a good game, regardless of the scoreline.
Any fear going into this one at all, or just excited to prove everybody else wrong?
We can't. Me personally can't have any fear in there. Really, just the boys up the top got to take their chances. I've got to do my part and sort out the back line in defence. So no fear at all.
Okay, Tate, finish us off. I want to ask, I think it's pretty safe to say that since the turn of the decade, there's been a pretty established top three in 𝐸𝐸, Marayong and Ponds. The question has been who can sort of break that open. Do you see yourself yet as part of a top four, perhaps? Or do you see yourself more currently competing for that fourth and final spot? What's the mentality? There's a difference there. And where do you think you guys sit to round us off?
Well, I think the mentality is that we can sit at the top. I mean, if we don't believe that, there's no point being here because we're already defeated. In terms of where we're realistically likely to end up, well, our results are going to speak for that. We've played 3 games. I mean, we had a 7-2 loss in there and we're sitting equal third. We're 2-1. So, you know, at the end of the day, we've started okay. We've started well. We'd love to be 3 from 3. We're playing the best team in the comp on Saturday, so we've got another chance to prove where we're at. But yeah, I'd be lying if I said we didn't think we could finish in that top spot, and that's the truth. But again, like I said last podcast, we need to go out there and we need to show it. We definitely have the quality to do it. I just think sometimes we get caught in some lulls when we're out in the field. Just need to pick ourselves out of the hole, so get that internal motivation. And we're working towards that. We've got new boys in this year as well, so it always takes a few weeks. Again, no excuses, but yeah, we know we can match it with everyone, and after 16, 18 rounds, whatever it is, we'll be able to answer that, and the ladder won't lie. So,
actual last question now. I keep getting new ones. 𝐸𝐸, 2-time Player of the Year to come up against on the weekend. Kelvin Ofori. Your job to shut him down, I imagine.
Look, he's obviously a 2-time Player of the Year for a reason. He's probably the best player in the comp, so it's going to be a challenge. But I know I have, had some good battles with him, and I've come out on top some games and he's come out on top other games. So it's going to be tough, but I'm looking forward to the challenge.
No matter what your opinions are of Blacktown Workers, their squad depth and their quality of the players in that squad speak for themselves. And while that match of the round might have seemed damning to some, like Tay said, they are 2 from 3 so far, and a chance to verse all of the top, or pretty much the top 2 of the 3 teams in the opening parts of the season is a challenge. That they can come through it, they'll certainly look like one of those teams that can finish towards the top. Boys, thank you so much for delaying your warm-up to be here. I really do appreciate it, and good luck on the weekend.
No worries, mate. We avoided the sprint.
Thank you.
So.
Well done. Much different tone to a couple of weeks ago as we were heading into that Ponds game. Just even in the facial expressions, they just seemed not just humbled, to be honest, in a way, but also they were a bit more steely and focused, I think. And when they said those things, there was a whole lot less smirking, like, we're going to beat teams and we're going to come first or whatever else. Before we go into the Marayong interview, which is going to be the first one that we get to see with Marayong this year, let's have a look at some fixtures coming up this weekend. I actually kind of wish in some way that this was the match of the round, but for different reasons completely. Paulownia take on Tigers in what could be a huge match. Critically, it is at Choppin Park, so Paulownia have the chance to do one over Tigers early on in the season at home. 𝐸𝐸 host Riverstone. Eastern Creek are the ones who actually have the bye. And as you know, the match of the round is right here at 7 p.m, so you can come from your game at 4 to come straight here. Workers host the 𝐸𝐸. A day of football at Jonas Bradley Reserve that also includes the Women's Premier League at 3, but at 1, Quakers will come to visit Jonas Bradley to play Ponds. It's Newbury who have their momentum cut short, not just by the long weekend matches off, but by the bye this weekend. So they're going to lose their spot at the top of the table, most likely. Newbury have the bye. This could be big in terms of momentum. Minchinbury Jets play Parkley in what could be a banger of a match. Oakville take on Prospect as both those two teams look to launch a title charge. Town Rangers will take on Premier Spurs, who will be without their captain, of course, who got sent off in that last match of the round. And on Sunday, this could be really good fun as well. Glenwood looking for their first points of the season up against a St Pat side that have done well so far. Kellyville United will host Holroyd, looking also for their first points of the season. Castle Hill United will host Parkley as both teams look to launch themselves into the top 4. Marayong take on Ropes Crossing in another Blacktown derby. Russell Rams and Quakers Hill Tigers will verse. Ponds are the ones who host Kellyville on Sunday. And in what maybe could be considered the best match of the round, at least on paper, Norwest will go to visit Quakers Hill Juniors, who I'm sure have a bit between their teeth after how they lost their game on Tuesday night. So as we go into a chat with Marayong, keeping in mind that they did play on Tuesday nights, going down on penalties in a wild old match, what can we expect from them? I'm not sure, but maybe this interview segment will be able to tell you a little bit. It's going to be a good game. See you on the other side. It's a chance here to chat to the team who are sitting once again at the top of the table. Marayong, once again, first place, 4 from 4, a great start to the season. And since the turn of the decade, they really have dominated proceedings, it's safe to say. Now, they're able to focus on the league a little bit better because of something that happened last night in a Cotton Cup match. Shia, I'm going to go straight to you. A highly physical match, I've been told. Just a quick recap. We're not going to delve into this too much. Just dissect it quickly for me.
Yeah, look, it was a very physical match. We had, to be honest with you, we had a lot of chances to finish the game early, but, when you play against a physical side and if you don't take your chances and things start to go against you, and that's what happened yesterday. And the last time we had penalty shootout was probably last time we played Ponds in a grand final match here. So since then, we don't even really practice penalty shootouts too. We're not really the type of team to pens, but it didn't go against our way. But it's one thing out of the way now, so we can concentrate on the league more and the State Cup as well. So
obviously, we are missing Kevin Guerrero, also the co-coach of this team, who would usually be able to cover all sorts of bases. Highly successful Women's Premier League and also Representative 𝐻𝙩𝙩 𝐈𝐓 is here to step in for his place. Now, as a general observation, right, knowing that these guys, or the two standing here and Kevy, who I was just talking to you about, have come back for another year of taking time away from their families and slaughtering themselves to make sure that they have their team in tip-top shape. As an observation as the club president, what do you see? What keeps these guys motivated to come back this year and start so good, top of the table again? What is it about these two in the coaching technical area?
Look, first of all, as a club, we are very lucky to have the coaching staff that we have. This year we've had Dylan take on the 21s, so we've got another leader from the squad taking on the young kids. Look, if you were to ask me what keeps these guys going, I would say perfection. Even when they win the league, they always find something they can improve on. So I've got a feeling we're going to keep these guys until they get it 100% perfect, which is great news for me. But look, we couldn't ask for a better group of coaches. Robbie is back again this year, so unfortunately he couldn't make tonight either. So the coaching staff we've got as a club, in the Men's Premier League, I think is the main reason that we've had the dominance that we've had. You can have the best squad of players in the world. If they can't be led properly, they're not going to get the results that the club and the coaching staff want.
Dylan, my friend, it is so good to have you back, not just on the podcast, but on the pitch mainly as well. I would say that this, from my perspective, this started back before the grand final in 2023. There was injury issues going in, so you hit about the 70th minute, an awkward tackle went in, you almost limped off, you stayed on, went on to win. But then last year, I'm not sure if that affected you or not, but it was a pretty stagnant year. So tell us what happened, why did you miss most of last year, and where are you at right now?
Yeah, after that game, I think it did go a bit downhill for me there. Injury after injury. I ended the season with a partial MCL tear. And that year, we just missed out on the finals, lost in the semis. But back this year, fit, healthy, ready to go. All the boys in the squad are fit, healthy, so we're just going to come out every game firing. I'm
going to stick with you here as well. Ponds have gone on record just a couple of weeks ago saying that in the first round of the season, that 4-2 that you guys came away with, that if it wasn't for their own individual errors, lapses in concentration, that the next time that they played, they would probably win the game. Is that what Marayong believes?
Look, if that's how they feel, that's how they feel. I think that game was clear and open for us. Despite Kelvin banging in 3 beautiful free kicks, we were on top of them most of the game. Chances were clear, we just didn't put away our chances, and that's been the story for us this season. We're beating teams, but we have so many chances that we're not putting it away. So there's still long to go, and we're coming, so just wait.
We're going to talk about some of the players that aren't quite in the squad and some of the changes that have happened. So Shia, I'm going to go to you, the best person to ask for this. Obviously, Merv took a step away, former BDSFA Premier League Men's Player of the Year, a guy who captained the squad for a long time. First of all, tell me what it's like to not have him in the squad anymore. But then also touch on as well how Kelvin has stepped up in his place as captain and also Dill as vice captain.
Yeah, losing Merv was a big loss, not only for the team but for the club as well. Just to have him around on and off the pitch. The leadership that he was showing around the boys, just always positive, always encouraging. But yeah, it left a big hole, especially in the change room. But you know, players come and go due to their commitments with their families and etc. But you know, we've just got to move on. And the best person to, you know, fill in that spot was Kelvin for this year. He's been a vice captain for the last few years anyway, but he knew that stepping up on another level just to be the captain, he knew what was expected to do, and he's been doing it fine so far. And he's got two great vice captains behind him to support him all the way throughout the season, Wal and Dylan as well. But yeah, things are looking good so far. You know, 4 wins out of 4, we can't really complain. So,
Dill, I'll go to you as well. Speaking of defenders returning from injury, there's talks that Mamush will be back at some point this year. What can you reveal about where he's at post-op, and are you excited to potentially work next to him again?
I'm not going to reveal too much about Mamush. I think the rest of the league will get a surprise when they see him on the field. But yeah, like I said, when we get our team, every player on that field, yeah, we got more coming. They haven't seen anything from us yet. So
excellent. Nudge, let's actually look back a little bit further to when you secured the minor premiership away at Workers, which is exactly the fixture that is happening in the match of the round this weekend, which is an extremely exciting one, 7 p.m. on Saturday night, weather prevailing, of course. Now, when you secured the minor premiership in first grade and also the club championship in turn, that was a midweek catch-up. And you might remember some things happened after full-time that were probably to the disagreements of you guys. So just recap that experience, and does that sort of spurn you on a little bit to get even, you know, to just run? Do you reckon the boys will run a little bit harder this game?
Look, yes, last year we did win it there. We won the league there. We won the club championship there. We won the club championship there. We won the league the next week against 𝙩𝙞𝙩𝙡, from what I believe. It came down to the last game to win the league. But yeah, we won club championship that night. Yeah, look, a few things happened afterwards. As far as I'm concerned, we got what we wanted out of it. There's no need to dig into it, if you ask me. Whether that spurs on the boys, I think it will, because if a few of them wanted to have a few of their own little mementos afterwards. Is the game going to be similar this time round? Are the boys going to be fired up? You got to understand, both teams have got quite a few personnel changes, so the game's going to be an interesting one. I think the boys are up for it. In terms of digging into the earlier part of your question, I think I should just leave it there and move on.
Probably fairly put. Do you want to add anything to that, or are you okay?
yeah,
Excellent. Football will do the talking. Dill, chance to come up against a certain Rivaldo. Started on the weekend just gone by, or prior to that. Scored as well in the early parts, in the opening 15 minutes or so. And if he starts, he'll probably be on the left wing, and you're at right back, or at least down the right-hand side of the defence. So a chance to go up against an old teammate. Are you excited about that, and can you lock him down?
yeah, very excited. I think before River came over back to Marayong, we would always have our general matchups, and they were always good. He would one up me, I'd one up him. So it's another challenge for me to conquer. So it will be a good game between me and Riv. No hard feelings there. Still love him, but on the weekend it's me or him.
All right, Shale, let's get serious in terms of Workers themselves as a team. Obviously have been on the podcast already, so everybody knows what their ambition is for this year. Everybody also knows how that first match of the round went. Now, my question to you is, looking at their squad compared from this year to last year, is this a squad you fear more with some of their players that they've brought in, and potentially the change in the technical area, or is this just another case of the badge being the same?
Look, no disrespect to Workers or anything, but we don't fear anyone in this competition. You know, we've been finishing first throughout the competition for a reason. But regarding their team this year, I think they are stronger this year than last year. You know, new coach, new games play. You know, bringing few players from the other comps as well, or other teams throughout within this comp. It should be an exciting game either way. But like I said, we don't fear no team in this competition. We just look forward to playing each team every game. So, but good luck to them on the weekend. But it's not going to be easy game, especially taking points from us.
I want to actually look backwards. Again, I know we've done a bit of chopping and changing of the timeline, but let's just look back one more time to how last season ended. You guys finished first in both grades, obviously secured the club championship as well as both minor premierships. Come grand final day though, there was no Resi's or first grade featuring that day. And something tells me, and I haven't had the chance to chat to you guys on the podcast form since then, but something tells me that, and from what I observed, both Rezzies in first grade didn't really show up to the plate that day. I don't think that's an unfair observation. I've been pretty nice to you guys on this podcast so far anyway, but this is the time that I can be a bit honest. I don't think you turned up to be your best that day. So was there just something in the air that day? Did you just feel like maybe that week off hindered you a little bit? What do you put the way last season ended down to?
Look, our main goal every year is to finish on the highest level as we can. Both Rezzies in first grade couldn't ask for more, coming first in the comp. But having that 1 week break on it did really hurt us because, having to go and watch our opponents, what we've been playing throughout the year. But had we not have that break and just went straight into the semi and then final, would have been different. But on the day of the game, both Rezzies and first grade didn't show up. And with the Rezzies workers, credit to them, they played really good against the Rezzies team, and first grade inside, they just took their chances. When it comes to tight, good games, where it's all about taking chances, because we all know every team in this competition can create chances, but it all comes down to the strikers. If they're on a good day, the game finishes early. If they're not, the game becomes harder and harder. And like I said, whoever finishes their chances wins the game.
Last two questions, one for you each. First of all, you've been around this squad longer than anybody. You've seen what Marayong Premier League teams are capable of, have been capable of in the past, and you know what this one is probably capable of as well. Considering all that we've talked about and considering all your experiences of watching Premier League football, yes, you're 4 from 4 right now, but where do you think this team ranks, and what do you think it could achieve this year?
The team we've got this year definitely ranks up there with the best teams we've had at Marayong, in my opinion, if not the best. If you're, anybody that's involved or can see the way these guys recruit, the way they do things, I get into arguments with them every year about, hey, your jersey order is going to be delayed, make up your mind, but they don't make up their mind till they're 100% sure about a player. So, mate, the way these guys recruit, in the 10 years, she has been there for 7, I think this is the 7th, I think this is Kevin's 11th. In the 11 years since we first launched Premier League at Marayong, which was with Kevin and Paul O'Carroll, I think it was back then, I don't think there's ever been a year where they've taken a step back in terms of quality, and there's no reason why this is any different. I've seen these guys train, I've watched them play, I've watched guys take the field with one leg and still pull on a stellar performance. So I do think this is probably one of the best teams we've had.
Very high praise indeed from the top down, but you're out on the pitch, you see it. You've also observed a lot of it last year. You know what they were capable of, and you know if they've progressed or stagnated, perhaps. What's the ambition for this year? Obviously, it's to come first and win everything, but is the ambition to do it by a certain date? Is the ambition to win a grand final in front of, 550 people or something? I'm not sure. What's the plan come September time?
The way we are is we take it week by week. You've seen in previous years where we can be the best team in the comp and then fall short in the finals. So we do take it week by week. Every week we set new goals for ourselves, and that's the goal we try and overcome and then move on to the next week. So we don't start the season thinking, we want to get the club championship by a certain time or enter the grand final. We're starting this week, let's get this win and look forward to next week. But as everyone has said here, we're a great team. People always expect us to be in the finals, and I think it's just an expectation that everyone has. But for the team ourselves, we just take it 1 week at a time.
Yeah, perfectly said. And off the back of that, just quickly, one more. If the goals are being set every single week for each team, the likes of Danny McDougall is in this Workers team. Mackenzie Chavinda at the back is a new signing. Ahmed Badat is a former Golden Boot winner who's scored a hat-trick against Ponds, for example, in his time, and finally picked up his first 2 match of the round goals as well in the most recent live stream gone by. Rivaldo. So what's the goals for this weekend?
The main goal on the weekend is to win the game, obviously, but look, Rivaldo is a good. We've had him for a few years now, on and off. He's a great player, very fast. But myself and Kev will do our little homework and then come up with a game plan to stop him. And on the pitch, I don't care if it's my family member or anyone. Everyone's my enemy within the field. After the game, we'll hug, give each other a kiss, whatever. But in the game, like I said, we don't fear nobody, so they can all come at us.
Whether it's Dylan Owusu shutting down tricky wingers or it's Xiao himself maybe leaving the technical area to chuck his foot out, like Steve Bracknell. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but either way, I know this match of the round is going to be fun for a multitude of reasons. Boys, thanks so much for taking time out of your training session tonight and being here. I really do appreciate it. Marayong are always the ones who don't really come out swinging. They come out jabbing, if you like to say. They don't like to really leave too much of a mark. They'll leave that for the 50-50s come the weekend. Do Marayong go into this game as favourites? Yes. Are Workers off the back of a win when they played 20 minutes with 10 men, as well as down on players as well, and off the back of the previous week being a game where they got, spanked? Is this the perfect time to play a team like Marayong when their backs are going to be up against the wall, but they do have that bit of confidence from the Quakers game? Yes, and that's why this game is so significant, not just because they're two big teams. That's going to bring an end to one of the longer episodes of the Blacktown Premier League podcast. I tried to keep it snappy in between the interview segments. Thank you so much for getting to this point of the video, and leave a like if you haven't already. Leave a like if you appreciate the effort that the players put into this podcast every single week. This whole product comes because you guys keep liking it. It motivates the players talk a lot, and then the players get motivated externally when they watch this to talk even more and walk the walk as well. It's a community, and we all rely on each other to do well. So keep doing it, keep liking. It leads to more talking, it leads to better football. Cue the outro music. But it's fallen here towards 𝐼𝐍!
Oh my word.
And now played and struck and in! Further forward now, Tagira! Ryan Dominici! Wants a second goal. Isabel Greb should have a second goal! And finishes with ease!